Sam Johnson and Eric Jenks here with PayTrace. We're going to talk a little bit about some announcements that have popped up recently. Over the last few months, there's been a lot of buzz in the industry about some projected interchange changes coming from the major card brands.
Interchange changes. Don't you love saying that?
Interchanges. I'm sure we can make a fun tongue twister from that. But, you know, April's coming up and we always expect these adjustments coming from Visa and MasterCard.
Just the season.
We got some news the other day. Eric, do you want to unveil that?
Yeah, probably not a surprise to anyone at this point, but, MasterCard leading the way, mindful, and this is a quote from MasterCard, mindful that some merchants are still facing unprecedented circumstances. We're delaying previously announced interchange adjustments in the U.S. until April 2022.
Yeah.
Feels like deja vu.
It does. We did almost an identical video last year. We were ready to make all these big announcements about some changes and some increases and even some decreases, but here we are again doing the exact same thing.
It's funny. So twice a year, April and October,
yep.
we go through this. The bank's making some adjustments on these costs. So they're delayed, right? That's the main message. You know that. I thought we'd just take a minute, Sam, and just talk about maybe some of the highlights and lowlights of what we thought were in the changes, because maybe it'll be here next year.
Yeah.
Anything stand out to you?
You know, there are a couple things. I think the big thing, right, that most of the industry has been talking about is the fact that on some of these non-qualified interchange rates, what we consider as downgrades.
They're actually calling them non-qualified now, right?
Yeah, so they are calling them non-qualified, right? They're not calling them for standard anymore. It's pretty much just non-qual. And they were going to go up, right? For Visa specifically, it was the first time I think that they've gone over 3%. So that's
big deal.
Yeah,
big chunk of change.
It is. But one thing that I think hasn't been quite as noticed, and Eric, I know we've had a lot of conversation about this, is that there were some new programs for specific industries that were being introduced as well. You want to maybe elaborate on that?
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens April 2022, but there were a few things that we were kind of excited. We felt like were opportunities. New education opportunity, reducing costs there pretty significantly. 143, that's a great rate. Healthcare, we saw some stuff in the healthcare space. Again, some really nice kind of like emerging markets. Like let's take advantage of that. And then what was some of the other advertising? I think taxis. Were taxis in there? There were some.
Taxis was in there. Yeah, not necessarily PayTrace's wheelhouse.
No. But, obviously education, healthcare, we do a lot of that. And so being able to take advantage of those lower rates.
Insurance was another big one.
Insurance. Yeah, we do a ton of insurance, right? Recurring payments there. But those things on hold. A couple things that stood out to me, there were a lot of integrity fees, like authorization fees. And Visa MasterCard, really card brands in general, trying to slap hands for people using the system kind of outside of best practices, and that was gonna start to get expensive.
Yeah.
So, So now on hold.
Now on hold. So, from what it sounds like, things are going to stay kind of as they have been for this really the last 2 years now.
Yeah.
Which is still, keeping PayTrace extremely relevant. Not that it would have changed at all really for us, but right, things are still needing interchange optimization. There's still, some of these downgrades that are pretty high out there, and it's just because things aren't changing doesn't mean that it's not still top of mind.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things, to be honest, we were concerned about, we were looking at some changes in level 2. And we saw some stuff between like a swiped level 2, and I think what are they calling that? Product 2 now?
There's product, it's still level 2, but there's still there's product 1 and product 2 that was going to be implemented on business cards and
tier 1, product 1, level 2. That's not confusing enough, right?
Not gonna make it any more simplified.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So, but the thing is, level two still matters at this point, right? I mean, it's still going to stay. There was going to be a different value, but there was still going to be value,
right.
but it's still very valuable. Level three, untouched, virtually untouched, and so obviously just a huge opportunity. People just throwing money away if they're not optimizing interchange with level three.
So I think we wanted to just make sure our partners and our merchants were aware of these changes or lack thereof of changes.
Yeah, I
Eric,
think. Yeah,
any
I'd like to say one last thing. One of the things I think, Sam and I have been reading all these articles, Bloomberg, Reuters, all kinds of Wall Street. Motley Fool had an article on it. I mean, it's been in the news, and we've been there's certain things you see on, and they write things for headlines.
Yep.
I think for sales reps, one of the tips for consultants is not everything was going to go up, right? I mean, in the news, it was just like rates are going up. There were certain rates that were going to go down, and obviously those it sounds like those are delayed right now. But I would say, it's an opportunity maybe to sing your own narrative. Don't necessarily go along with everything you see on paper. Do some research, get into the rates itself, and be the expert for your merchant, because in some of these scenarios the news doesn't even apply to them, right? It wouldn't apply. It may have been good news, it may have been bad news, it could have been terrible news in some cases, but that really allows people to be the consultant, be the expert, and saying, hey, look, yeah, this is in the news, how does it apply to you, right? How does it apply to you? Still applies. Good news still in a lot of ways that expertise still applies. So
absolutely. I want to encourage our partners, our merchants. If you guys have thoughts on this, comment on this video. We want to hear your perspective on this as well, right? We see things from the gateway side of things, but as kind of consumers of all this, we want to know, really how is this affecting you? And if you do have any concerns or questions, please reach out to us directly. Eric, sales@paytrace.com is still the best way to get a hold of us, and we want to keep that dialogue continuing.
Absolutely. Lots of info. Continue to be experts in your space. Let us know if we can help.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Take care.